Hello, children, and very good morning to all of you. I know it is a very difficult situation. You are all staying home, and I hope you are all safe and sound and healthy. Now, in these difficult times, these are small efforts that we teachers are making to bring some kind of learning which is happening in this situation also. So we wanted to ensure that the learning doesn't stop because of this difficult situation that we are passing through. Well, this pandemic of COVID-19 has brought everything to a halt, but we do not want the learning to come to a halt in such a way. So these are small efforts that we are making to see that your learning is not hindered. So we are going to take up the first chapter in class 9, which deals with number systems, and we'll see how we can try to understand this chapter with small little activities that we can do and try to understand them. So to start with the chapter, I have a short introduction, and maybe it is revisiting the knowledge that you have acquired all these years through on what are numbers and how the system has grown and what was the necessity of the growth of the system. All these we will take up one by one. So for this, first I have to share my screen with you, where I'll be sharing a small applet with you, a GeoGebra applet, which will make you understand the number system better. So here I go. I try to bring that applet in front of you, which will explain to you certain things which you have been learning all these years. Now, when we started with numbers, we started with the counting numbers, which we called as the natural numbers. So to start with, everything was fine. We could count numbers and that was it. But when we started integrating the operations on these numbers, we had certain difficulties which we faced, and these difficulties allowed us to see the growth of the numbers from one group into another. So when we started with the natural numbers, the counting was all right. But when we started adding natural numbers, yeah, still we were happy we could get results which were once again natural numbers, or I could say that the operation of addition was closed for natural numbers. But when we introduce the subtraction, we have faced a problem, because there were instances where when I subtracted two natural numbers, I was getting a new number which was not there in my group. So that was nothing but zero, because when I was subtracting 2 from 2, I ended up with a 0, which did not exist with me as a natural number. And hence the second set or the second group of numbers called the whole numbers got introduced, which included all the natural numbers or the counting numbers along with the 0. So natural number was a smaller group, and then we introduced the second larger group, which was the whole numbers. So all natural numbers are whole numbers, because everything which is there in the smaller group is also contained in the bigger group. That's why I have shown it as two concentric circles. But all the members of the whole numbers are not included as natural numbers, because 0 is that one who is sitting outside this red circle. So all whole numbers cannot be called as natural numbers, but all natural numbers can definitely become whole numbers. This is the meaning of these two concentric circles. So with whole numbers, again, for a certain period of time, we were happy because we could do the addition and the subtraction easily. But even when I started checking the closure of subtraction on whole numbers, I have encountered a problem, because there were instances where when I was subtracting two whole numbers, that is when I tried to subtract 4 from 2, I was getting another new number which did not exist in my group. That was the negative numbers. So when the negative numbers have come, we have come to the third group of numbers, which were the integers. So these integers were nothing but the natural numbers, the whole numbers, and the negative numbers together. So this integers is the third larger group which got introduced, which included all the positives, the negatives, and the 0. So again, when you look at these three circles, because again they are concentric, you should know all natural numbers are definitely in the group of integers, but all integers cannot be called natural numbers, because there are certain numbers which are not natural numbers in the group of integers. So similarly, you cannot say, you can say all whole numbers are integers, but all integers will not become whole numbers, because the negatives are the ones which are extra in this third group. So again, when I continued with this number system which contained the integers, I was happy because it was closed under addition, it was closed under subtraction, it was closed under multiplication also. Because whenever I multiply two integers, I was getting another integer. But the problem arose when we started with the operation of division. So division was not remaining closed with integers, because when I tried dividing integers, maybe the positives and the negatives, or a positive with a negative, there were instances when I was getting a different group of numbers which could not be kept inside integers, and hence we have come up with the rational numbers, which includes the positive fractions and the negative fractions, or the negative rationals I should say, which makes it the bigger set. So again, by looking at these concentric circles, you can say that all integers will be rationals, but all rationals will not be integers, because the fractions and their negative versions will stay apart, and that will form the extra part of this circle. So one is a subset of other, one is inside the other. So the smallest group is the natural, which grew into the whole numbers, then it grew into the integers, and then it grew up to the rationals. Now the same thing we shall try looking on the number line. So I have to go to the number line. I stop sharing it here. So now I think I will take up the number line on a different app and show you. So I was just trying to get the screen there. Let me go back and share my screen. Yeah, okay. So this is just a visualization of the number line. So when I'm walking through on the number line, there are so many numbers that I can keep picking up, and I'm moving on the positive direction of 0 or in the negative direction of 0. Or in other words, I can say on the right hand side of 0 and on the left hand side of 0. So to look at the number line looks very simple. If I start with picking up the numbers lying on the number line, I start picking up the 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. When I move towards the right hand side of 0, and when I move to the left hand side of 0, I have the negative integers which I pick up and put it in my bag. So my question is, suppose you are picking up the numbers which are there on the number line instantly. Do you think the number line gets exhausted? That means there are no numbers left over in the number line once you have picked up all these integers on the left side and the right side of 0. So when I try to stretch my number line and see what happens. Now there are numbers between 0 and 1 or 0 and negative 1 which are still existing on the number line. So when we try to stretch and see the number line, we come to see that there are still so many numbers which are lying on the number line. So all this were nothing but the positive rationals and the negative rationals that we are seeing. So as I keep stretching, I get more and more and more numbers. So it is not an end that I have the rationals and the number system is over there. So there were again problems coming up when we were trying to do some more operations with the rational numbers itself. So when we started learning the squares and the square roots, there was the necessity of this number system still further being stretched towards another group of numbers which we call the irrationals. Now to introduce this irrationals, I have a short video of around 3 to 4 minutes for you, which I want you to watch. So that will give you a nice introduction of how these irrationals came into existence, because there was another set of numbers other than the rationals, which we call the irrationals, and how the existence has come and what is the history behind the growth of this separate group of numbers called the irrational. I think I'll be showing that to you in the form of a video, for which I think I have to go back to my system and then choose the video. So you should give me a little time. I'm trying to share that with you. Yeah. Now this is a video which I will play from the beginning. Maybe I may not play the entire video. Just a minute. No, I think we are not getting on to that video. Just give me one moment. I think there is some confusion here.
We have seen how numbers evolved from Stone Age to primitive civilizations to a modern number system. Our modern number system uses only 10 digits, and we have seen that that after these 10 digits, we started counting numbers and we came to natural numbers. Well, after the addition of 0, we call these natural numbers as whole numbers. When I tried out addition in whole numbers, we saw that whole numbers were closed under addition, but they were not closed under subtraction. So to enclose this subtraction, what I did is I expanded my number system. I included the negative numbers, and after the inclusion of negative numbers, the whole numbers with the negative numbers came to be known as integers. Now in integers, we've seen that addition and subtraction both were closed. Also, integers were closed under multiplication too. But when we moved on to division, we seen that division could not be expressed. Every time division was not able to express the result through an integer. So what we did is we included the fractions with the integers and we called these numbers as rational numbers. Now rational numbers were closed under addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So all the four mathematical operations were closed under rational numbers, and hence for a long time it was believed that rational numbers were the numbers that represented the entire number system, because all the mathematical operations were closed under this number system, which is the rational numbers. Now people started using different operations in rational numbers. So they started finding squares of numbers. So this squared 1, which was 1. They squared 2, which was 4. Squaring 3 gives me 9. But now we had found numbers between 1 and 2 also. So what they did is they started squaring those numbers also. So we know that between 1 and 2, we have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 till 1.9. So squaring these numbers, they found that this is what they get when they square these numbers, these rational numbers between 1 and 2. Now what they observed is after 1.96, 1.4 square gives them 1.96, but 1.5 square was giving them 2.25. So they wanted to see what number when squared gives them 2. That is, what number when multiplied to itself would give them 2. So this was the question. Well, Greeks answered this question. They actually found a number which when squared gives us 2, and they called this number as under root 2. Who discovered this under root 2? It was said that Pythagoras, the famous Greek mathematician, he was credited with this discovery. But some people say that one of his students was actually the one who revealed this number. So this number was called under root 2, and it was said that under root 2 when squared gives us 2. So now the question was whether under root 2 is a rational number or not. So can you answer this question? Let us say that under root 2 is a rational number. If under root 2 is a rational number, then I can express this rational number in the form p by q, where q would not be 0. If q is not 0, then I can express this number p by q in the form p by q, that is a rational number. So now what we know is that under root 2 is definitely not an integer. Since it's not an integer, under root 2 is not an integer. So if under root 2 is not an integer, I cannot say this under root 2 by 1. That means q is not 1. Q is not 1 because it's not an integer. P by q represents an integer only if q is 1. Since this is not an integer, therefore q is not 1. So I get this. Now what I do is I square both the sides. I square both the sides. What I get is squaring under root 2, we know we get 2. And this is equal to p by q squared gives me, that is p by q multiplied by itself 2 times. P by q times p by q. So this is what I get. Now this can be written as, I know how to multiply two rational numbers. I can write this as multiplying the numerators by multiplying the denominators, which is p times p upon q times q. we see that we can write 2 as p square by q square. Now q is not 1. If q is not 1, then q square can also not be 1, because 1 square gives me 1. So q square will not be equal to 1. So I get p square by q square is equal to 2, which I can write as 2 by 1. But q square cannot be 1 because q is not 1. Q is not 1. Therefore, q square could not be 1. So I cannot express under root 2 in the form p by q because I get a contradiction here. Since under root 2 cannot be expressed as p by q in this form, hence I can say that under root 2 is not a rational number.
Well, I hope you understood how that argument is done. So we had defined rational numbers last year as those are numbers which can be expressed in the form p by q, where q is not equal to 0. Now our argument to say that root 2 is not a rational is that you are not able to express root 2 in the form of p by q, where q is not equal to 0. And hence this separate group of numbers called the irrationals had to be introduced. So we will look at these irrationals once again on our number line, or before that we will just try to understand how this group has to be set again. So let me go to the screen share again. I'll go back to my GeoGebra applet. Then we will try to understand how this system is going to be understood. Now I'm just going, I have these 4 concentric circles, that is one group containing the other group, and it has grown like this. The number system has grown till the rational like this, as one is contained inside the other. Now this irrationals is something which I cannot include into this because none of the irrational is a rational. So they are 2 different group of numbers. So if I need to introduce the irrationals, maybe I have to make a group like this. Maybe this is the group I'm talking about. So this group of numbers, which is not a part of the rationals, has to be kept separately. So this has to be named as the irrational. So I'll just put a text box there. I'll just give the input and telling that it is an irrational. Okay, that will make the group of irrational numbers. Maybe I'll give it a different color. Yeah, just a minute. Okay, we don't have the blue there. So we'll give the blue. So this is the irrational numbers because it cannot be included into any of these groups, because an irrational itself means it is not a rational number. So that remains a different group of numbers. Now, if I have to again put these 2 together, then what I should do is, no, sorry, just a minute. This is the irrational numbers. Maybe I have to fix it with the screen. Yeah. Now, if I have to think of another group which includes all these numbers, then what I would be getting will be the larger group, which I should be calling. See, if I have another group which contains all these numbers, maybe that is a different group which contains all the rationals and the irrationals, and hence that will be called a different group of numbers which we will be studying the next year, called the real numbers. So that will be the real number. So I think I can give the input there telling that this is going to be the bigger group of numbers which will be called the real numbers. So the real numbers is a combination of your rationals as well as the irrationals. And hence that is the largest group, or that is the biggest system that we are operationally seeing today. So the rationals, the irrationals together form the real numbers. And hence when I go back to my number line, when I try to go back to the number line that I was drawing, maybe I have missed it. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I think I have passed that. So I'll stop the screen share here. Now, we will try to take up a few questions in our exercise from the NCERT textbook and try to see if we are able to answer them with all the concepts we have just tried to revisit now, except for the irrationals that I have introduced right away. So I'll go back to the screen share there and come back to that page on the NCERT textbook, which is exercise 1.1. Okay, so this is the textbook that I am showing it to you because I don't know if all of you have your textbooks with you now. I think you should. It's high time that you procure one and keep it with you. So these are some basic questions which we should be able to answer by now. So is 0 a rational number? 0 is a part of the system of whole numbers itself. And because whole numbers is contained inside the rational numbers, definitely we have already made the statement that all whole numbers are rational numbers. So definitely 0 has to become a rational number. But we have already described the rational number as to be written in the form P by Q. So can I express 0 also in the form of P by Q? So I just have something else to share here. So let me go there. Now this is what I have tried to solve. Now I think I can zoom the screen and show you because I think it's the font size is very small. I'll try to just increase it and show it to you. I hope my screen is getting visible to you now. Yeah. This is the first question. The argument goes like this. Yes, 0 is a rational number. It can be written in the form P by Q. Definitely 0 can be written as 0 by 1 or 0 by 2 or 0 by 3, etc. So the denominator can be any value. But you have to maintain the numerator as 0 because finally what I want is 0. So 0 can be expressed in the form P by Q and hence definitely it is a rational number. Now we'll go back to the next question. Find 6 rational numbers between 3 and 4. I think this is something that we have done in class 8 itself. When I need to find rationals between two given rationals, the very simple procedure I have is to add these two rationals and divide by 2. I get the third rational between them. So I add 3 plus 4 divided by 2, which becomes a 7 by 2. So 7 by 2 is something which exists between 3 and 4. So the next step you will do is take the 7 by 2 and add it to this 3. 7 by 2 plus 3 whole divided by 2 will give you the next rational between 7 by 2 and 3. So it is like finding the average of the two rationals that you have. You will get another rational between them. So this is something which we've done in class 8. So I'm not going into the intricacies of those. I think you should be able to solve that. We'll take up the next question and see. Find 5 rational numbers between 3 by 5 and 4 by 5. So I go back to my board. Let me scroll it down. Okay, so I wanted 5 rationals between 3 by 5 and 4 by 5. So I take the 3 by 5 and 4 by 5 and bring them to a common denominator, say 30. So I find the equivalent fraction for 3 by 5 as 18 by 30. And the same way an equivalent fraction with the same denominator 30 for 4 by 5 will be 24 by 30. Now you see the denominators are the same. So all the remaining numbers between 18 and 24, all those can be taken as irrationals between 3 by 5 and 4 by 5. So the 19 by 30, the 20 by 30, 21 by 30, 22, etc. till 23, all this will give you 5 rationals between two given rationals. So this is another way of finding it when you have it in the form of fractions. Now, moving on to the next set of question, which is the state of true or false. So this argument will be very easy for you now because I've shown it to you as groups of numbers already and discussed. So once again, we will see every natural number is a whole number. This is what I was asking you when I was showing the GeoGebra applet there. See, every natural number is a whole number. The collection of all natural numbers and 0 is called the whole numbers. So all natural numbers taken with 0 will become whole numbers. So definitely all the natural numbers will be inside the group of whole numbers. So this statement will be true. Now every integer is a whole number. So integer is a whole number or not. Now there are some integers which are not a part of the whole numbers, which are nothing but the negative numbers. So the negative integers are not whole numbers and hence this statement that every integer is a whole number will be false. Now going on to the third statement, every rational number is a whole number. Now, every rational number is a whole number is not possible because rational numbers are to be written in the form of p by q, where q is not equal to 0. And q does not divide p completely, that are not whole numbers. So there are some fractions which are outside the whole numbers, and hence you got the bigger group of numbers called the rational numbers. So this was the first part of the NCERT textbook, where we have just revisited our knowledge on rational numbers. So the next part, we have already introduced our rational numbers here. Now the next portion of our discussion will be to see how do I locate these irrational numbers on the number line. We were able to see all the rationals so far on the number line, but when it has come to the irrational numbers, we are not sure about how this can be seen on the number line. The number line, when I try to stretch it, what I was seeing was the fractions were coming in the positive direction, they were coming in the negative direction. So these were all decimals which were terminating, and hence they were all the rational numbers that were showing on the number line. Now there are certain numbers even between these rationals is our argument, and hence the irrationals have come. Now, where will these irrationals lie on the number line? So this is the next part that we shall be discussing, for which again I have to go back to my short video, which will allow you to understand where do I locate the irrationals on the number line. So I'll just play this video for you.
We can see that numbers that are not rational are called irrationals, and further, irrational numbers, after the decimal, the digits keep on repeating, they do not terminate, so they are not terminating decimals, and also non-recurring. That is, the digits after the decimal do not repeat or recur in a particular sequence. This is irrational numbers which are non-terminating and non-recurring. Now, how do I plot these irrational numbers on a number line? That is the question. We've seen integers on a number line. Between any two integers, we've seen fractions. That is the rational numbers, which are integers plus fractions. Now, how do I plot these irrational numbers? Where do they lie on the number line? So let's start with irrational number root 2. We want to plot under root 2. That is, we know that that's an irrational number. Now let's take a unit distance here and a unit distance vertically. So 1, this is 1, a unit distance, and this is also 1. Now if I join these two lines, I get a triangle. Not just that, I get a right angle triangle. Horizontal, vertically, they are at right angles, and I get a triangle. So I know I have a right angle triangle. Now as soon as I have a right angle triangle, what strikes me is the Pythagoras theorem. So I can apply Pythagoras theorem here. Let's say that this is L. The length of this purple line here is L. So applying Pythagoras theorem, I can say this is the hypotenuse opposite to the right angle. That L square would be equal to the sum of squares of the other two sides. This is 1. This is also 1. So it would be 1 square plus 1 square. So L square turns out to be 1 square, which is 1, plus 1, which is 2. Taking positive square root, I get L as under root 2. Why positive? Because this length has to be positive. We can ignore the negative square root. So I get that this length, this purple side is of length under root 2. So now, how do I plot under root 2 on the number line? I know this is under root 2 distance, this point from this point, but I need to find under root 2 distance on the number line. This point does not lie on the number line. So what do? I take this as my center. I take under root 2 as my radius, and I draw a circle around with this as center, that is 0 as the center, and root 2 as radius. So if I draw a circle, I get this. Now I know that this line, which is under root 2, is nothing but the radius of this circle. If I take any other point on this, let's say I take this point on the circle. Now I know that the radius has to be the same. So if I look at this point and see its distance from 0, it should also be under root 2 because this is nothing but radius of the circle. This is the center, a point on the circle. So that means any point on this circle would give me under root 2 length from 0. That is the radius. So now let's look at this point. I wanted a point which lies on the number line. Let's look at this point and similarly this point. From 0, in front of 0, this is behind 0. So again this point would be what? This point which I get would be under root 2. This point. Why? Because it's again radius under root 2. So this under root 2 is actually the length which is from 0 to this point. So this is the radius of this circle. So this is under root 2. Similarly, you can say that this point would be minus under root 2. Negative of under root 2. So which is this length. Distance is the same. The length is the same. What changes is just the direction. Magnitude is the same. Direction changes, a negative number. You get a negative number. So this is how you can plot under root 2 on the number line. So I get under root 2 on the number line which lies between 1 and 2. I get under root 2.
So this is how I want you to show square root of 2 on the number line. So like this, you have to continue to find out how can I position root 3 and root 5 on the number line. So in our next class, we will also learn how to locate root 3 and root 5 on the number line. And then there are a few small set of activities that we can do, because this irrationals, locating them on the number line is such an interesting activity. We can do it in 2-3 different methods. This is the direct method which she has shown you. One by one, you will take the numbers and then move on and then try to bring the Pythagoras and then try to locate the irrational on the number line. But there are other ways also in which you can do it. There is another method called the spiral method, which will allow you to show the number irrational on the number line. So I stop the share there. So I think today this much should be enough for us, because we have done quite a few activities. We have discussed a few content. So because it is a recorded session that I am sending you, I have not taken you into the Zoom session to teach this to you. So I only hope that all this content I have discussed so far in this video, you will make it as notes and get ready. So next Zoom session, when I plan it, I'll just intimate to you, you will join us. So till then, you should have completed till locating root 2 on the number line. So hoping to see you in another couple of days, where we will take up the activity and do. In between, I shall be interacting with you on the WhatsApp group. So be watchful and try to complete this portion in your classwork, because there is a lot of content that we have discussed. We have done an exercise also. So please complete all this in your classwork and get ready. So it is almost a day, I can call it a day for you today. So please stay safe, stay at home, and please see that this learning also is done staying at home. So this is a big bye from you from this end. So hoping to meet you in a couple of days. Thank you very much.